Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 14, round number 12. It's the French Grand Prix here at the Circuit Paul Ricard here in France. I hope you guys are looking forward to what should be a very entertaining race this evening. Of course, last week was very entertaining in itself. Brilliant end to the race. Saw BJ take another victory this season. He's pushed it in terms of championship standings. He's moved up to 4th after last week's results, and the gap between 2nd and 3rd ever closer. 3 points separating Chelova and C1 Tempe fan in the championship. But Grumio pulling away 20 points clear at the top after failing to score last time out. Now, for me personally, my 50th Grand Prix commentating on the RDLs. I'm hoping we get a very entertaining race from these guys tonight. And there is your championship leader, Salve Grumio, on his way through to start his first timed lap. So here comes your championship leader. We'll keep an eye on Ethan, though, in the Red Bull with the first one round to start his flying run. So down the main straight he comes here to start the lap. And there it goes over the line. It's a short run towards turn number 1 into the opening chicane on the circuit. Decent exit from these first couple of corners, making his way down that long straight. No DRS here. There'll be DRS coming up into the next long straight on the circuit into the next couple of corners. Very tight complex of turns here, but be careful not to spin out. Hits the curb, goes over the apex, hits the apex post a bit there, so he's gone over that. 22.3 is first sector, and making his way now towards that DRS zone down the longest straight in the circuit. There should be a good opportunity for full overtakes here tonight, so keep an eye on that as the race goes on and heading towards that left hand. You want to be careful not to turn in too early, because there's two corners, two turns you can go into. Make sure to turn straight on. It should be an issue for these drivers here who've, of course, raced this circuit for many years. On the exit, decent run down this next straight end towards the long, fast right-hander here. Very quick, very sweeping. 50.3 his second sector. It's a very technical final sector here. And into the right-hander, near close to the curb on entry. To the corner, goes back to the outside and then the inside. Again, hitting those curbs on the exit as well. So good run from him there. And into the left-hander, very tight. Or gets tighter as the corner goes on. Very tricky circuit if you can't get the hang of it. And into the last couple of corners here. For Ethan, we'll see what the first time of the night's looking like. It's just a decent banker to start us off. And down the main straight and towards the line. 1 minute 30.6, the first lap of the night. Being set courtesy of Ethan. Next car through, I believe, is one of the Williams cars. That'll be Woody's pit lane. Shea Oliver coming through the last couple of corners now. Of course, he's got some points he needs to gain now. There's 20 points back in the Drivers' Championship. Fortunate not to be more after Grumio having his unfortunate incident last week. We're back this week looking to try and extend that championship lead as best he can. Shea Oliver goes third. TJ, of course, got podium last week. Sits in second place on the timing screens by half second off of Ethan's top time so far. There's still a lot of drivers to set lap times here. Here comes Alvar beginning his first flying lap. See what he can do over the course of it. So as he makes his way around here through that first sector, he's looking at the end of sector 1 will be a 22.6. So not too bad an effort at all. Got a few more cars out the pit lane here. BJ in his first sector fan on his outlap. Of course, those two still chasing Aston Martin, the Constructors' Championship. So Alvar comes through the chicane here at second sector. Alvar, who I must say has my personal favourite helmet on the grid. The blue and yellow clashing very nicely indeed. I always try to go for that sort of approach myself. 50.4, his second sector. If I stop rambling on about useless things and carry on with the commentary here. So Alvar making his way through that third sector into the right-hander. Very smooth on the entry. Up to the outside and then back to the inside. Good exit from him as well. Going towards this next left. Nice and easy. A bit too wide there. Shea Oliver sets the fastest time now. 1 minute 30.3. So 3/10 clear of Ethan's previous effort. So good start from the Mercedes driver. Of course, was out last week, but is back this week for more action. Looking to try and close in on that championship lead. Alvar then off the final corner and charging towards the line now. It's going to be a 1 minute 30.7 for Alvar. Pope has gone second place. So it's an almost Mercedes front row to start things off. Not too bad at all from the Silver Arrows. They'll look to try and improve that, or try and extend that advantage as the session goes on. We get to see Grumio out the pit lane here. We just seen so we've just seen someone make a move up the order. That was BJ's gone P6 here. And he'll be next through to the line. It'll be one of the Alpha and Mayos here. That'll be Huggy Bear. He's into the last corner now. It's quite a slow time here, so I dare say he'll line up and go again. He's got fans behind on the medium tyres, who may be on a course for a decent time regardless. Coming towards the line here. It's 1 minute 31.2, which puts him 7th fastest. Both McLarens starting on medium tyres here, so let's see what they can do on the soft over the course of the session. But they're almost a second off the pole time as it stands. Huggy Bear 1.8 there with 1 minute 48.8. So he'll want to improve on that if he can on this occasion. End of the first sector. 6 steps up, that's a positive start. Oh, and around he goes. As I say, that commentator's curse in full effect. Huggy spins it. I had to unfortunately get round to the background to the start line and go again. Oddly enough, not turning the car around. Recovers it here. Just gets back onto the racing line, back on the racing surface. No one around him, so it's all safe for him to come back in. TJ there running in 5th. Alvar in 4th, but into the pit lane here to end of his first run. Here comes Webbsy in the Ferrari for the last couple of corners. Webbsy's had a decent season, runs in 6th place in the Drivers' Championship. And puts himself P5 here. So 1 minute 30.761. Not too far off Alvar's effort. Zach Sherman out the pit lane now, and on his first lap. And Grumio rejoining the session now. I believe he disconnected earlier. He's now back in. Of course, the only driver not in the session right now being PJ Khaled, who has a qualifying ban to serve after the incident last week, which brought out the safety car in Austria. We're looking to improve on that. DRS about to come through for the ripple of Zach Sherman. See the Ferrari pulling over to the left-hand side. That'll be Webbsy there, having just completed his first run. So let's see what Zach Sherman can do now. Into the chicane, keeping things nice and smooth, and actually going all the way over the curbs there in the middle of the corner. And the exit making his way now towards that second sector split. 50.7. And now into the right-hander. Over 180 miles an hour. Well, its way in. And on its way through that last sector now, keeping things nice and tidy indeed. Keeping off the curbs there. And Grumio once again disconnecting, so potential issues for the championship leader here, which has seen him failed to set a lap time so far. And that could be a problem here. We've only got 8.5 minutes left in this session, so still plenty of time in reality. As one of the Ferraris going around, that's Webbsy who may have spun out. Had to recover the car as Zach Sherman charging towards the line, puts himself P6. Just 3/10 off his teammate, who still sits in P3 behind the two Mercedes cars. Very tight between those two, about 0.07 of a second separating them. But Pope will come back out on the racetrack and attempt to try and beat that. Pope just 45 points for Mercedes so far this season. Almost 80 odd points off of his teammate running in the second place in the championship. And I remember was holding Mercedes back in terms of the Constructors' points. Which I have a look at those now. Mercedes still running in 3rd place in the Constructors. Aston Martin in the lead by just 21 points over McLaren. Grumio been fending off the both the combination of BJ and C110P fan, of course. Finished 2nd last season for AlphaTauri. Looking to try and pull that off again if they can in the McLaren, but perhaps even go that one step further and try and chase the Constructors' Championship. Arguably one of the stronger pairings on the grid. Behind them, Red Bull running in 4th place. It's Haas in 5th. 4 points in front of Ferrari, who are 6th on 84 points. Alpine with 56. Alfa Romeo with 45. Williams with 44. And AlphaTauri with 38. AlphaTauri getting that huge boost last week with the podium for JB, who finished in 2nd place in the end in Austria. So we're looking to try and replicate that here today. But yet to set a lap time here, yet to lead the pit lane, I believe. So keep an eye on who's next to the line here. Here comes one of the Haas cars. That'll be Sniper Hunter starting his first run. Just under 7 minutes to go. I'm unsure if we're waiting on two people in particular to join the session. Right now, it's only just the one Aston Martin and the one Alpine. So I'm unsure if we're waiting for anyone here. We'll have a look here, keep updated as the session goes on. Reaching those last few minutes, both Mercedes cars on the racetrack here. Pope improving by just under a tenth in his first sector. Chalova improving by a tenth and a half in his second sector. So these guys could be on to increase their lead just a little bit more here. As I come through the last sector on the circuit. Yellow flag at the end of start of sector 2 here. Sniper Hunter's gone around. And the exit of the chicane, so he has to recover that car. And C110P fan spun it as well. In the same place Huggy spun it just a few minutes ago. In terms of those two Mercedes cars, BJ's went up the line here to start his next run. And Chalova for the last corner here and charging towards the line. Over the line he goes. It'll be increasing his lead by 3/10 now over Pope exactly. So Chalova maintains pole position and increases his advantage. Let's see what Pope can do. Oh, and around he goes. And I dare say that'll be the end of Touchy Pope's lap. He'll want to come back into the pits and maybe have another go at that with a few minutes later on in the session. Yellow flag in sector 3, that will soon be recovered until he makes his way onto the racetrack once again. Put himself back in line. 5 minutes to go as Pope makes his way into the pit lane. That'll be his run over, unfortunately. Wardy and JB both on outlaps here. Wardy, but looks things not too happy with it with the Williams after his practice session. Problem with the rear end going at the back of the car in particular. So I have to keep an eye on him over his next lap and just see where he's losing it. Slowing up here just to give himself perhaps a bit of free room on the racetrack, allowing the McLaren of BJ past. It's a little way back to JB and Oliver. Only a few cars on the track right now. And BJ goes 4th fastest there, 1 minute 30.5. Very close to Ethan's effort. And into turn 1. Keeping things nice and smooth here for Wardy. Perhaps might be a bit more careful. So end of the first sector here, we're looking at a 22.2 at the end of sector 1. Keeping the car under control as Alvar puts himself on the front row, and that could be quite a lofty expectation for the Williams cars. Trying to put themselves high up in the order. Of course, the Williams cars have been doing a bit better in qualifying in these last 2 weeks, which is always positive. We do like to see another team up there. Haven't been able to convert it in the race though, unfortunately. That's why they sit 9th in the Constructors' Championship. That could change here if they get some good points on the board. It's very close. They could finish as high as 7th. They could end the day as high as 7th place, the Constructors, and look to chasing down Ferrari and Haas, who are the bats of their own here right now. Running on board with Wardy through the 3rd sector. Yellow flag in front of him. No sign of the rear end stepping out just yet. As BJ moves over, allowing Wardy through. Keeping a close eye on him here. As Grumio finally out on the racetrack here to set what will no doubt be somewhat close to pole time, if not the pole time, based on his form in recent weeks. Still leads the championship. Wardy comes to the last corner here and puts on all of the throttle, and Grumio retires. I believe he's retired in the pit lane as Wardy goes 6th fastest. Grumio back into the pits and out of qualifying. What on earth has happened there? Very confusing. There was seemingly no issue with what was going on with him. Perhaps maybe saving tyres for the race. As Chalova back out on the racetrack, and I dare say, if things was to end, if the race was to end how it is now, then Chalova would take over the lead of the championship by just 5 points. Oh, so the car almost steps out from the back, underneath him there, but keeps it under control. Alvar went 2nd fastest, come over a few moments ago. Wardy now in 6th. The Williams cars again doing very well in qualifying here as we reach the final 2 minutes of this session. Websy starting another lap here. Finishes last lap 0.004 of a second off of his previous best effort. Pope on his outlap here. Going to be looking to try and beat his teammates time. Ethan on the track too. Improving last time out. He's gone back up to P4 again. And could we see anyone performing in the high 129s towards the end of this session? That's what we'll see on both the Mercedes cars can do in particular. They'll be the ones to watch. As Landlord joins the session now, so we'll have 19 cars in the race, and we're just waiting, I believe, on one more driver. So 19 cars are right now in the race. We reach the last minute of qualifying. No chance of Landlord being able to set a lap time though. Won't get round in time. So the two Aston Martins have their work really cut out for them here. They'll start from the back of the field. So what could this mean for the championship? Final 30 seconds here. Both Mercedes through a second sector. Landlord retiring from the session. Will start as high as 14th for this one. And Pope almost 2 tenths up, improving as Ethan goes third fastest. That will be his last lap of the session. And Shea improving just a little bit here. Oh, a 10th up in the second sector. BJ won't be looking at pole position here unless he can try and get across the line now in time, and he will get time for one more lap. Checkered flag has fallen here. As of right now, Alvar on the front row. Well, let's see what Chailover can do here. A couple more cars finishing their runs. Prolol didn't set a valid time. Here comes Pope towards the line. Puts himself back on the front row, but it's not enough here as BJ retiring from the session. And Chailover runs towards the line here and reclaims pole position. That's a 1 minute 29.7, a very impressive lap time. And Wardy's front wing is gone, no chance of him improving. Mr. TJ here in the final sector, as well as both Haas cars, down half second up. Yellow flags in the pit lane. So here comes Dan then to the last corner. We'll see what he can do. Of course, Ethan's still a lap as well. He looks to try and improve. One of the Williams cars gone around. I believe that maybe Wardy there who's gone out. Down over the line, P11 here. Here comes Sniper Hunter trying to beat him. He'll go P9. And Wardy did spin out. Of course, got no front wing on that car. Zach Sherman towards the line, lapping Val. He'll start as high as 10th for this one. Here comes C110P fan. Not the best of exits for him. He's trying to make something work here. Charging towards the line. It's been very tight and it's been enough for P5. Connie Goblin over the line here. P13. And Ethan into the pit lane at the end of that run. So, it's an all Mercedes front row for the first time in quite a while in the RDL. So the Silver Arrows lead everyone to turn 1. Alvar there in 3rd. Ethan 4th. C110P fan 5th. TJ 6th. BJ 7th. Wardy 8th. Websy 9th. And Sniper Hunter will finish in 10th. So all in all, a very entertaining qualifying session indeed. But what will happen perhaps are the Aston Martins in this session? The Constructors' Championship leaders starting towards the back of the field. This has all the makings of a very entertaining French Grand Prix coming up, so make sure not to miss anything. Back with you in a few minutes. Been to the top 10, so we'll be back with you in a few minutes' time. We'll start the race. Don't go anywhere because it'll be a very exciting one indeed. So there's your top 10. Chelo starts on pole, Pope in 2nd, Alvar 3rd, Ethan 4th, C110P fan 5th, TJ 6th, BJ 7th, Wardy 8th, Websy 9th, and Sniper Hunter rounds out your top 10. We'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the French Grand Prix, the Racist Driving League, Season 14, Round 12. This should be a very exciting Grand Prix over here, moments away from the start. And I'm hearing a potential chance of rain in this race. This could be a very entertaining one indeed. So make sure to stick around after a very entertaining qualifying session. Both Aston Martins at the back of the field. So where could they go? The two Mercedes cars in the front row. Che Oliver, if things stay how they are now, could end up in the lead of the championship at the end of today, despite being 20 points back coming into this one. And we are seconds away now from the start. As the cars start to ready up, as they get ready for the start of the French Grand Prix. Perhaps one of the last ones in RDL's history for a little while, as we know French Grand Prix in F1 23, at least to my knowledge, if my memory is correct, or however I could be wrong or not, and it could still be on the schedule. I'll check that before, as we get into the formation lap here. The start of the race.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
In terms of tyre choice for this one, top 4 all starting on hard tyres. I see the majority choice of drivers have got a total of 5 drivers throughout the field on the mediums, including both the Aston Martins, after they're looking for a charge in the first stint in order to go late to the end.
We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
So here comes Che Oliver then, second place in the Drivers' Championship, 20 points out, and could end up with the lead of the championship come the end of the race from the forward of the checkered flag. Could we see some drama here? As I say, which is now fact-checked and correct, which could be the final French Grand Prix in the Racist Driving League for the foreseeable future. No French Grand Prix on the calendar this year in 2023. So there'll be no sign of that circuit in the F1 game, as the AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeos line up on the back row of the grid. JB and PJ Khaled, the last 2 cars. As we wait now, 19 cars, all waiting for the lights here at Paul Ricard. Lights out, foot to the floor, go, go, go. Decent go from both cars on the run towards that first corner. Greg goes away from Oliver, he'll take the lead going to turn 1. Alvar looks to the inside, into that first corner, backs out of it, but still there alongside rather. He's going to potentially try and go around the outside, but Pope gets in front of him. It's all back, a bit of a scuffle for the back car around. That's one of the Haas cars, and Daniel Aron falling all the way to the back of the pack here, but no damage sustained in that car. He'll carry on regardless. Yellow flag, but that'll be quickly cleared here. But a brilliant getaway from Oliver. He'll take the lead over Pope, then Alvar, Fan, Ethan, BJ, TJ, and Zach Shem out of the session this early on. We've got a crash for the back, and we're already under the virtual safety car here. Zach Sherman out of the running so early on in this race. Several cars with damage. No front wing on the Courtney Goblin machine. Let's have a check here just to see any damage on anyone else in the field. I dare say I saw a fair bit. And what a start of the Aston Martin cars. Both up to P9 and to P11. But Zach Sherman unfortunately out of the race so early on. No front wing on Landau's machine though. That could be a problem. And that'll move Grimmy up into P10. And the full safety car has been deployed now. Well, an eventful start there, especially further back in the order. But Oliver got away beautifully over Pope. So a good start from those two. Having done the maths, 8th place is required. 8th place minimum for Grumio to maintain the lead of the championship regardless of Oliver's finish. It's the two Mercedes who come around at a crawling pace here to lead the first lap at Paul Ricard. Landau comes into the pit lane here. As high as 4th, that's probably about as high as he'll be for at least another 10 laps or so. As he comes into the pit lane, and PJ Caldin as well behind. Both those cars will have damage. So we'll see what these guys do in the pit lane. Front wing change definitely on the cards for Landlord. And it's a change onto a set of hard tyres, and medium tyres go on the car now. PJ Khaled is away, and Landlord away as well, having made that change. So both cars back out to the racetrack, and I dare say we'll get a restart very quickly here, as both these two cars catch up to the back of the pack. So 3 Mercedes cars now at the front of the field with the help of the Mercedes safety car, which is being imported this week to Paul Ricard. Grumio up to 10th here. Have a look at the position changes off this start. So the biggest gainer has been DBR championship leader Grumio, who's up 7 places here, but not enough to maintain that championship lead. JB up 6 here. Both Prolo and PJ up 2. And the driver who's lost out the most, at least in terms of still in the race, it's a 3-way tie at the moment between Dan, Cottony Goblin and Landlord, who's of course fallen back thanks to that change. Was running as high as P9. I think we might have to go one more lap here before we get back underway. So through the last sector here, gonna move on to the tyres. So again, hard tyres the choice for the majority of drivers who will go longer into the race in that first stint. Grumio, interestingly, on the medium tyres, both Aston Martins were, but Landlord's made the change onto the hards here, so we'll try and go further into the race. Can he try and make it a one-stop? We'll spend a few laps on the safety car here, and potentially later on in the race as well, should we get a bit more drama and a bit more crashing, which we'll be hoping that won't be the case, as both Dan and Cottony Goblin come into the pit lane here, making potential changes, I assume, to tyres. Bit odd to change from hards to something else this early on in the race, so we'll see what they do. There's a front wing change for Cottony Goblin in the offer here. And onto a set of medium tyres, and the change is imminent. PJ Khaled back into the pit lane. Medium tyres on the Daniel Lara machine, and a front wing change going on for PJ back onto the hards. Those same hards from the opening lap. So on to lap number 3 here, and when those guys join up to the back of the pack, we should have a race on our hands once again. 2 stops already for PJ Khaled this early on to the race. Cello staying right with the safety car here. Pope warming up his tyres a bit further back, giving a lot of room to his teammates showing the way. Good stuff from the McLaren so far. 20 points going the way of the Papaya team right now. That's enough to put them 2 points behind Aston Martin, the constructors, thanks to Grumio's 1 point on the board right now. And as of right now, the full, at least 29, yep, the full 44 points going the way of Mercedes right now. So that'll be enough for them to swipe the lead of the Constructors' Championship. The safety car comes in this lap, so we'll be able to hold on to that. Grumio here, we're looking to see how he gets on. Lando will come back to the field. He's back up to 15th thanks to those pit stops. Zach Sherman out of the race, unfortunately. Huggy Bear, 5-second penalty for a severe collision with JB. He may have run into the back of him there. No damage on either car. So we're set to get going again. But when will Chael ever go? Not really many places to try and pull away. So he may try and go on the exit here. Oh, Pope was losing the car. Still the opportunity that Chael needs to slide away with the top spot. And he leads by almost a second as he comes over the line to begin lap number 4 of this race. Alvar using his battery towards turn number 1 here to try and get away from C110P fan, and looking at Pope into turn 1 as Grumio gets around the outside Sniper Hunter into 9th place. So very good start from the Aston Martin, 1 place gained. He looks to try and gain the next one off of Wardy, who's running in 8th place. Decent stuff from the Williams car so far. Sniper Hunter around off of turn 2. Recovering the car, no damage to the front wing. He's away, back again, but down in P18, so not the best to start for the Haas cars. Pope closing back up to Chael over here. But a second back to Alvar, and third, who could find himself under threat from C110P fan here. He's got the toe off the Williams in front. And Ethan not too far behind either. I dare say Fan might be closer this time to go for a move into the corner. And Gremio passing Hardy now. He's on the inside of the Williams machine, who might try and come back at him on the outside. Not going to happen. Gremio holds on to 8th place and starts making his way towards Mr. TJ in 7th. A charge to the field here, coming courtesy of our championship leader, who right now is sitting in the space he needs to hold on to championship lead. BJ defending from Ethan here, just taking the spot away. Ethan looking to the inside if he can. Very tight between the pair of them on the exit. BJ leaving Ethan the space around the outside and holding on to P5 as Fan looks to try and challenge Alvaro in front as Landlord passes Huggy for P13 further back. Gremio on a rampage here. Next we're looking at TJ towards turn 1. He's gained 2 spots in this opening lap on the restart. He looks to the inside of the final corner here on the Alpine driver and on the exit. There he goes. Just the one Alpine in the race. So Curtis unavailable for this one. As Chailova sets the fastest lap once again of this race. But I dare say Gremio will take it, and he does on the medium tyres. Clearly one of the fastest cars on the track and taking place in spectacular fashion. He's already up into P7. After just a few laps of this race, Huggy Bear another time penalty for multiple warnings and falling down to P17 here. As C110P Fan passing Alvar here, and he may also lose that to BJ as well. Double whammy from the McLaren cars to make their way through the inside on the Williams and jump up into position. There goes Ethan to the inside as well, and Gremio might try and get involved on the exit of this next corner. Side by side, the Williams and the Red Bull on the exit. Decent move, and there goes Gremio. We may have tapped the back of the Williams just a little bit. Might try and get around both cars if he can. Try and force a way through, but I doubt he'll be able to do it this time. That's be a gutsy move to try and go for it into there, but he's going to make light work of Alvar go on the inside of him, so he's lost several places as Alvar in just the space of a sector or two. And now Gremio up into P6 and chasing down Ethan for P5. And once he gets around Ethan, that's where things will get a little bit more tricky perhaps. There's McLaren and Mercedes perhaps well in front of the rest of the cars in the order. As Gremio looks to the inside going into the right-hander, Ethan will no doubt give him a bit of a challenge here, but Ethan goes a bit wide around the outside trying to make something work. And on the exit, very close to the pair of them, touching wheels there. Gremio goes a little bit wide into the corner. Ethan has the line going in. And on the exit, trying to pull it off, but no traction for him compared to the Aston Martin is inside, who will slide through and take away P5 and now looks to start chasing down BJ for 4th. Now, both McLaren started the race on medium tyres as well, so they have the same sort of pace that Gremio has. Oliver sets the fastest lap once again on the hard tyres, but Gremio might try and set it himself over the line. It won't quite do it this time. It's not as fast a lap in terms of pace in that respect, but he's passed a good number of cars. And now work is up towards the leaders who know they've kind of got to get away now. DRS is enabled. Chailova will have no threat from Pope behind. BJ, the first car in the order to have DRS. So the extra burst of speed for one of the McLarens here down this next straight, but I doubt he'll look to try and take his teammate on anytime soon. They need those points for the constructors. $22 points right now going the way of McLaren in the constructors, just 10 for Aston Martin. Just not enough at this stage for him to take the lead of the constructors. Gremio will work to take on these McLarens as he can, and the DRS will definitely be to his benefit as they make their way through. Chailova now to a 2.2 second lead over his teammate in 2nd place. It's 1.5 back to C110P Fan in 3rd, 6 tenths back to BJ, and Gremio almost losing the car there. He was 6 tenths behind. He's now about 8 or 9 tenths here as he makes his way through. But he's got the car back under control, and BJ may have made a bit of a mistake there. Yellow flag further back, and that is Courtney Goblin who's gone around at the exit, the left-hander, or the right-hander, sorry. And he has to recover the car. No damage, it looks like, just a simple spin, and he gets away with it and keeps on going, but down in P18 now. Chailova, another fastest lap for him. He's running riot here in this Grand Prix this early on, and Gremio now setting it for himself. These two arguably the fastest cars on the track as it stands. Gremio showing it by getting around other vehicles and cars, and Chailova showing it by simply just getting further and further in front as Courtney Goblin with a second spin here coming into the pit lane. This early on, or stopping the car going into the pit lane. Unsure as to why he's done that. In the pit lane now. On to lap 7 of this race here. Gremio will be looking to get around BJ if he can. And down this next straight, have the DRS in order to try and make that happen. Will he use any of his battery? No, he won't. Both cars got over about half of their battery left as it stands. Gremio will close in that a little bit more. The two McLarens and the Aston Martin now very condensed together as they make their way through towards the end of that 2nd sector. And here he goes, the Aston Martin of the championship leader looking to the inside. These two have battled a few times already this season. Here's another one to add to the books. Gremio slides through nice and straightforward to take away P4, but will BJ come back at him though? BJ looking at it, couldn't quite find any space to dive inside. So BJ now down to P5, will try and get back against the Aston Martin as soon as he can before he takes on his teammate C110P fan to try and get back into the podium places. Alvar, 3-second time penalty for him now. He's got Mr. TJ up his outside. Well, he looks like he switch back off the corner. No, he won't. Not enough room for him to try it. DRS though, try and help him. Gremio sets the fastest up once again. 1:33, the first one of those set tonight. And again, clearly very fast now, Aston Martin. Nothing's capable of stopping him. He's taken one McLaren and looks to try and take the other as soon as he can here. And Pope is slipping back into the clutches of C110P fan in third. So it's going to open up the door for Gremio to try and take him on. Chelova just doing his job and trying to get away. Will Pope look to back up the rest of the pack behind? No DRS off of Pope for fan, but Gremio closing in on him now. And I dare say he may look for the same sort of thing as he did on BJ, looking into towards that next right-hander. Oliver getting away here. Just a 3-second advantage as TJ passes Alvar into the corner. Gremio closing, but not enough to make much difference. Stays about half a second behind. But a good run through this third sector could lead to a goal on the main straight. The different sort of line he runs going into the corner compared to that the cars in front. Oh, Pope goes a bit wide here and fan closes up. So a little bit more, 3.5 seconds now the gap between Oliver and Pope right now. Ethan running in 6th place, almost 3 seconds back from those top 5. Landlord's still trying to make something happen here. He's still running him down in P13. He's run down P13, just still outside of the points. Gremio not really closing towards turn 1. But Landlord might try and make a move here on Prolol. Again, he's not closing it either. Oliver now 3.5 seconds clear of his teammate in 2nd place. He'll be looking to try and back up that pack as much as he can in order to allow his teammates to get out into a lead. Be a great benefit as he knows that Gremio is coming on those medium tyres and will definitely be a force to reckon with towards the end of this race. But he'll have to pit again. Of course, a lot of these drivers yet to make their first stops. Yellow flag, and that is Webster's going to round the Ferrari. Oh, coming right across the track there. Very dangerous, and could have potentially smashed into PJ Khaled if he was any later there. And I dare say PJ be recording that. I wouldn't be too happy with that if I was him. As Landlord getting around Prolol and JB here. Going into the corner, he's taking on both AlphaTauris and might win here. JB still on his inside, not willing to give an inch. But Landlord having none of it there, sliding through on the inside and up into the points paying places now. More points on the board for Aston Martin. Look how close these guys are. And Pope backing up C110P fan into Gremio, who might try and seek an advantage. BJ still behind them there in 5th place. Half second back. Looking to make something happen. As Oliver extends his lead to almost 4 seconds here. DRS deployed once again. On to lap number 10 now this race. 18 laps to go. Into turn 1. Look how much C110P fans is looking around to find an opening off that Mercedes. Further back, Ethan perhaps could be under pressure against Mr. TJ in that Alpine course. Finished on the podium last week in Austria. Looking to try and go for it again if he can, but it'll take a bit of luck for him to try and pull that off. The rest of the pack quite a way up the road. As Gremio passing fan now on the inside and gets through in front of both McLarens now, who might seek to come back at him. No DRS in the Aston Martin, but yes, DRS on the McLaren, who's closing in, going in towards the corner. It might go very late on the brakes to the inside. He's going to go for it here. Fan almost trying to force Gremio into a mistake, but Gremio having none of it here. The championship leader holds on to 3rd place. And the McLaren's dropping back quickly here. Prolol, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's the 3rd driver in the night to get penalty. 4.5 now the gap between Oliver and Pope. And Pope's mission here will now be in order to defend like a lion and keep Gremio behind him as long as he can here. What can Gremio do from this position? Yellow flag, sector 1. That's Courtney Goblin's got around again, or slow again, off of turn 2. Recovering the car. And there's Oliver off that last corner. Gremio want to try and get a run down the main straight if he can, but won't be enough to close in a gap that large. As Fan into the pit lane here for his first stop of the race. What could be his only stop too. Theoretically could go to the end on those mediums. Yellow flag in sector 3. And that is Landlord going slowly. Landlord down to P14, make that P13 now. As Fan comes out the pit lane here onto a set of hard tyres that realistically could take to the end of the race with ease. Shea Oliver almost 5 seconds clear now. Gremio looking to try and get this move done. He wants to make it quick. BJ left to defend on his own in 4th place. 8/10 off of the championship leader. Yellow flag sector 1. That's Huggy Bear's gone around. Gremio still focused to try and get around Pope here. We're going a bit deep into that last corner. Pope want to use his battery on the exit to avoid the Aston Martin closing in, which he is. Pope defends the inside. Not enough to stop Gremio, who's going to try around the outside here and will get the place. Gets clear of the Mercedes going into the corner on the exit, sorry. But going into the next one, I will defend beautifully from the Silver Arrow, who might look inside. Pope trying to make something happen, but not quite going to do it. Gremio up to 2nd place now and 5 seconds away from the race leader, Shea Oliver, who's got no focus on what's going on behind. But there's no doubt Sin, his championship rival, sliding his way up the leaderboard bit by bit by bit. And is now looking to try and close in on that 5-second advantage he holds. However, those mediums will start dropping off very soon, I dare say. And that'll be the time for Pope and the rest of the order behind him to pounce. And BJ will go into the pits in a lap or 2 as well. Be on those tyres for 11 laps now. Ethan running in 5th, still defending from TJ in 6th there. Wardy and Alvar both in contention to try and hold on some good points here. And the AlphaTauri's of JB and Prologue round out the top 10. Daniel Aaron 11th, PJ 12th, defending from Landlord towards turn number 1, but the Aston Martin having none of it. A clear line from on the inside. They'll charge through into turn 1 and take away P12. And now start pushing towards P11. 2.3 seconds to Dan the Haas up further ahead up the road on those medium tyres, which I dare say will start hitting the cliff in a couple of laps or so. Pope, his job now is to try and get back around Gremio if he can, or at the very least try and keep pace with him. We want to stay in that DRS range for as long as he can here. Going to the corner, keeping things nice and smooth. And Prologue and JB going at it through the right hand. There's contact between the pair of them. JB gets hit. Lucky not to spin out here. Dan might try and take advantage of the pair of them as JB goes back to the inside of his teammate. Side by side, the 2 AlphaTauris towards the corner. Will Dan try for a gutsy move around the outside? Almost thought he was going to go for it there. And JB comes out in front of Prologue, holding up, and Prologue goes way wide there. And Dan's going to take advantage and go silently inside of both AlphaTauris here. What a battle this is between the AlphaTauri and the Haas machines. And Prologue around the outside of Dan gets the corner done. But potential bit of contact there between the 2 AlphaTauris, forcing Prologue wide off the line. And I doubt JB or Prologue will be too happy with each other here. Not the sort of battle you want to be having with your teammates. BJ comes into the pit lane. But yeah, not the sort of thing you want to see happening between teammates. BJ at the pit lane here, or his pit box rather, onto a set of hard tyres. Pope gets a penalty here, and that could help. That could help Gremio massively here in order to just hold on to that 2nd place position. 5 seconds back to Ethan, so right now no effect on him in terms of his finishing position. Oliver here staying consistent, still about 4 seconds clear, 4.8 to be exact. And Pope looking for a good run at this next corner. Neither car has a huge amount of ERS left rather, with DRS on Pope's car to make the way towards the left-hander. Near the halfway stage of this race now. Oliver still in control. Prologue and JB going at it again. This time they have to be a bit more careful each other just to not let Daniel through. And Landlord might try and get involved too. Will Dan be a bit more gutsy with it this time? Will the AlphaTauris take each other out potentially? I hope not. Dan goes to the inside, makes it 3 wide going into the corner. This can't work, surely. But it does. Dan goes sliding through. Prologue runs wide once again. Not as wide as he did last time. As Prologue looks to the inside of his teammate. Bit too risky to go for it. Landlord might try and take advantage. But Dan getting around both AlphaTauris here up into P9, but only P8 rather, but only for a moment. There goes JB up the inside, looking to reclaim the 8th spot, and he does do so with ease around the outside, going to the last couple of corners on the circuit. What a fight this is. And Landor might try to get involved as well. Prolog getting past him as well. On the outside going to that last corner. JB, poor exit. Prolog might look to take advantage. Grumio into the pit lane here. Hard tyres going on that car. He'll go to the end on the nose. JB and Prolog now fighting for 7th. Into that first corner. Prolog comes out ahead. Brilliant number of cars racing this pack for 7th place. As Daniel tries to make a move on Daniel here. On the inside of the Haas driver going into the corner. On the exit, he's got him. Will he fall prey to PJ Khaled behind? PJ with a poor run to that last corner. Webbsy and Sniper Hunter could look to try and get around him. And Landlord following the weight now of the two AlphaTauris. Very similar to Grumio taking on the McLarens early on this race. He's come out in front of those two cars. 1.5 seconds clear of PJ. As Oliver continues to lead here by almost 6 seconds. How far into the race will Oliver go? Will he look for a set of soft tyres at the end? Ethan battling TJ here. Oh, not much room left for the Alpine on the outside. Still on the racing line, on the racing surface. But Ethan not making it easy on the Alpine driver. And Alvar could seek to take advantage. He's only 6/10 back. Should those two ever coming together on track. Into the last couple of corners here. And on the exit. Oh, not the best exit for TJ. Ethan gets away. Alvar, the bit of DRS, could try and come into this fight if he wants to. Already 3 seconds back from them. As another few back to the scuffling AlphaTauris as Sniper Hunter pulls into the pits. From your passing Sniper Hunter here as well. BJ and T110P fan getting around him as well. In terms of gap to leader, it's 28.8 seconds separating the two championship rivals. Grumio in 13th and Oliver still leading the way. And there are your penalties. 3 seconds for Pope, Alvar, both AlphaTauris, Prolog and JB, and 11 seconds for Huggy Bear there. So a number of those picked up over the course of this race. So Oliver now 6 seconds in front. He's done nothing but expand that lead throughout this Grand Prix. Some rates faster than others. As Landon looks to get involved with the two AlphaTauris now. He's found his way around JB and will try and chase down Prolol here. But he's already a second behind, so no chance of DRS at the moment. And JB could come back at him here. Look into the outside, going into the corner. Landon has the better line going in. As JB looks to try and go underneath. No room for him to do so. And Landon did the right thing defending the inside there, going into the corner. As Chalova comes into the pit lane here. Fresh set of mediums going on the car. And those just about make it to the end. And where is Grumio? As the Aston Martin driver gained. I dare say he might have gained a bit of time. Landlord now right there behind him. Grumio sets the fastest lap on those new hards. A few cars separating the pair of them now. One of those cars has made his compulsory stop. I doubt he'll stay on the track. He'll stay on the track on those hards to the end of the Grand Prix. I'm trying to calculate here. It looks like around 5 seconds between Che and Grumio. Pope here will need to pit and come out between those two cars. Or at least in terms of his driver's championship case, in front of Che. However, I doubt that will happen. Just due to the gap that was between them as it stands. So Pope looking to make a stop here. However, I've seen how long he can go into the race on tyres. As I say that, he calls it quits on this first stint, comes into the pit lane. In lap number 16 here. Will Alvar and Wardy follow him? Wardy will stay out. So that's him coming next time by. Now, here's where the interesting thing comes into play here. Because Che is on a fresh set of medium tyres, whereas Grumio is on a fresh set of hards. Che didn't set the fastest lap that time round, but Grumio did. So despite being on those hard tyres, it does look like Grumio is still quite fast, as Pope comes out 2 seconds behind him here. So no defence between the pair of them, between Che and Grumio, once Grumio gets around all these other cars who will no doubt come into the pit shortly. This looks the inside of Websy here for 5th. Bit of contact between the pair of them. He's lucky not to spin out. And there he goes, getting a penalty. But Websy may have forced him a little bit there, so it could be a bit of controversy towards the in the Stewart report later out this week. But Grumio looks to try and get around Websy now. But no luck, the Ferrari perhaps getting away a little bit there. Very tight between the two cars here. Did Websy force Grumio towards the curb a bit and give him no choice but to run over those lines and get that penalty? Because that could be a race deciding thing here. He's going to take the inside of the Ferrari and get him on the exit. His next target now being PJ Khaled in the Alfa Romeo. So now, in terms of results as it stands, not only does Grumio need to pass Che, but he needs to develop a 3-second lead over him. But he's only got 10 laps left to do it. And he is still around 6 seconds back as Woody comes into the pits, allowing Che Oliver to reclaim the lead of the Grand Prix. And now both Aston Martins looking to chase after our race leader. Che Oliver now sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:33.2. Grumio does not set it again. It's the extra point now going on his way. Remember, if he set the fastest lap and finished in the top 10, that's an extra point towards George Jarvis' championship tally, and right now that belongs to this man, the Mercedes. Of course, won just 2 weeks ago at Silverstone, again snatching a victory from the clutches of the Aston Martin driver Grumio. And of course, BJ won last week, and a mixed bag of winners so far this season. To my count, we have a few race winners. So both Aston Martins win a race. Che Oliver has won a few times this season. Fans won a race. BJ won a race. We've got 5 race winners by my count. Yellow flag, sector 2. And that is Daniels who's just gone around. Recovering the car without issue. Wow, look at that. It's about 7 seconds or so. Actually, 8 seconds rather, separating the two championship contenders as it stands. Oliver currently around 8 or so clear of Grumio. There's the story. Grumio knows hard tyres, which will have a lot more grip towards the end of this race compared to Oliver's mediums. No threat behind, 9 laps to go. He sets the fastest lap once again. 1:32.5, one of the fastest laps we've seen all day. You see Websy coming to the pit lane here. Now the Aston Martins and McLarens both opted to start this race on medium tyres, and the only ones left on hards now. As Dan spins out once again, recovers the car though without issue. As Courtney Goblin lets Che Oliver through. And now continue to expand that lead. He may struggle for grip later on in the race, but it shouldn't be too much issue. So come towards the end of this one. It's been a race of tactics, this one. Hope right there behind Landlord and Grumio here. Grumio up in second now. 8.3 seconds to close. He needs to close down about a second a lap or so. Perhaps even more than that, considering he has that penalty to worry about. Penalty that we could look into earlier could potentially be removed. We'll just have to see. I'll see what the stewards think later on. Of course, we've already seen controversy with an Aston Martin and penalties. Just last night in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso having his penalty given to him, a podium finish taken away and then reinstated. So here's hoping that the stewards are a bit quicker, a bit better with their decisions than the FIA have been, especially recently in recent years. On to lap 20 now. Oliver leading, 8.7 seconds now. The gap between the pair of them, and I dare say he's actually getting away at this stage. And Pope, we're looking to get around Landlord here. Both those Mercedes cars on medium tyres. This is where things are especially helpful for them. Landlord's got a lot of battery left, as does Grumio. They've both got about half to a quarter left. Pope's running on the last few slivers of his battery. Oh, he was supposed to look to the outside there on Lando. A bit too risky. Not going to try it. That's a simple mistake. Lucky not to lock the tyres. Fan chasing his teammate BJ there. Mercedes, Aston, Aston, Mercedes, McLaren, McLaren. That's your order. The lone Red Bull and Alpine left in this race, and then both Williams running at the top 10. But the AlphaTauri of Prolol looks to try and chase down Wardy. Wardy could gain massively from these penalties if he can close in just a little bit more on Alvar in front of him. Alvar could try and would be looking to get TJ as well. That's 5 seconds to his name. He's chasing Ethan. He's got 3 seconds. Pope and Grumio both have 3 seconds to their name. So it's looking like a Landlord second place finish here as it stands. And BJ could try and take a podium place, which is in contention to do so right now. Only one McLaren will get on the podium today, if things stay how they are. 9.4 seconds now the gap between Che and Grumio. The Mercedes driver actually getting away. But a very impressive drive regardless from the championship lead to come back and finish in second place and maintain that gap for as much as he can. He'll be losing 8 points. So a gap with 12 points between them going to the next round in Hungary. Landlord not close enough for DRS, but Pope is. There he goes to the inside, going towards the corner. So we're very tight between these two. And going onto the braking zone. Pope pulling clear and up into P3 now. So Landlord down to P4. Goes to P2 with the penalties. As Simonton P-Fan passing BJ going into the corner. Could a McLaren battle be on the cards? BJ keeping in line. Perhaps one of his teammates make a mistake. Of course, these two still chasing Aston Martin, the constructors. They were looking to avoid any sort of mistakes like that. And the gap now, almost 10 seconds between the two leaders. Oliver now comes through to begin. Lap 22, just 6 more laps to go. We're definitely not as fast, but neither is Oliver. All 3 cars over the line there. Now we'll Pope on those mediums to try and take on Grumio here, because they've both got 3 seconds. So regardless of where that position is, they are still racing to finish in front of each other. And right now Grumio has the edge. He's got the position, but Pope will looking to come back at him. If they can get away from the McLarens, they could try and still score a podium finish. It's an unlikely task, but Landlord's dropping back here. Look how much Landlord is falling back. He might even fall prey to the 2 McLaren cars, both of whom have now got DRS on him. Yellow flag, sector 3, and that is Huggy Bear's gone around. In the Alfa Romeo running P17. Not the best Monday night for Alfa at all. P14 and P17 both with penalties. A week to forget, unfortunately, for them to move on to the next race. So Pope closing all the time on Grumio here. And both of them getting out towards that 3-second margin they need in order to keep their podium places. Grumio is clear, I think. Pope almost clear. It's guaranteed, both of them. And down this next straight, Pope will have DRS. And the 2 McLarens will threaten Landlord down this main straight. Will Fan go for a move into turn 1? He's got no choice but to look for it. There he goes to the inside and might get clear of him going into the corner, into the braking zone. Fan up in front. He'll take away P4. Landlord slipping away here. He's been on those hard for 21 laps. Will he go to the end on those to try and maintain track position, or will he try and nick fastest lap off of Oliver here by going on soft towards the end. Does he sacrifice his own efforts to get that 1 point off Oliver in the Drivers' Championship, and crucially 1 point off Mercedes in the Constructors, because it's looking perhaps a bit obvious they're going to walk over the 1-2 here, because here comes Pope to the left-hand side of Grumio. Side by side towards the corner, Grumio not giving him an inch. Into the braking zone, Pope gets in front, but Grumio might try to switch back around the outside and go back to the inside here on the exit, but Pope covers him off, and now back to the inside again. Am I allowed to call that a triple switchback in some respects? There goes Grumio back into P2. And Fan will now start chasing down the Mercedes and the Aston in front. They're still going at it here into the right-hander, all while allowing Che Oliver to get away. So even at this stage, no chance of that penalty changing much in terms of positions. Oliver will still win the race as it stands regardless. Back 24 now. 4 laps to go in this thing. Not much longer for Pope to get around Grumio, and not long for Fans to catch them either. Right now he'll be sitting in second place, or third place rather. I don't know if this is close enough, as BJ goes to the inside of Landlord and takes away P5. So Landlord down to P6 now. And McLaren is now well and truly amongst the bunch here. That's Fan just over 3 seconds back from Pope, so right now not getting it. It'll be very tight between these guys towards the line. Pope slipping away from Grumio a little bit here. He's half a second off. And Grumio has that extra bit of battery in his reserve they want to try and hold on to for the rest of this race. 10.5 now, the gap between Oliver and Grumio, as Pope looks to try and close in once again. There's the Ferrari of Courtney Goblin, who I no doubt will be sportsmanlike and move out of the way for these two cars to come through. Landlord trying to keep pace with BJ here, and he is doing that. Alvar, 3-second penalty for him. That'll be enough for Wardy to move on. Oh, there goes Alvar off into the wall. Mistake off the corner. And Wardy has a chance now to try and get around his teammate. Of course, Wardy has no penalties, so it would make more sense for those guys to prioritise Wardy, put them in front. They'll just try and get as much time as he can. Will Alvar be sportsmanlike? Yes, he. Oh, there goes Wardy, almost losing the car. They're saving it. But the pair of them now lost a crucial amount of time. Alvar, who may have been slowly out to let Wardy through, and Wardy unfortunately losing the back end as he did earlier on in qualifying. And that problem comes back to haunt him at the worst possible time in this race. Hugging another penalty for him. 3 more laps to go. Pope needs to get around Grumio as quickly as he can here. And there's the Ferrari just in front. DRS once again. Grumio trying to break the toe here. Pope not closing enough to go for a move. Ferrari moves out the way for both cars. Very sportsmanlike indeed from Courtney Goblin. 3.4 back to McLaren's. 3.4 back to Fan. Another further 2.5 back to BJ and 2.8 to Landmore. Those three really just falling back here from these two. They're still going at it. And Che Oliver has had no threats at all since leading off the line at the start of this Grand Prix. Is now just 2 more laps away from victory. Snap under passing JB for 12th. Just 2 more laps to go for the Mercedes driver here. Hope closing in all the more, but the grip perhaps starting to fall away on those medium tyres. Down the main straight he comes. They want to try and conserve a bit more ERS, because I'm not sure if we know that Grumio has a lot. But he does. We know that, but perhaps he doesn't. Huggy Bear, another 3-second time penalty for him. He's got 12 seconds to his name now. We'll keep an eye on the penalties towards the end of this one, as those will be crucial in deciding the final results. Grumio perhaps went a bit too deep into those last couple of corners, and Pope trying to find a way around him. If he can stay close here, he might have a good goal on him with the DRS. Here they go again. Grumio getting away here. Not even using that battery, but still pulling away. And now Pope reeling back in. Into the left-hander. Good run from the former champion against the 5-time champ. It's not enough here for him to try and close in. 11 seconds now, the advantage between Oliver and Grumio. He's a few moments away from starting the final lap of this race. It's been a dominant drive from him. He's just 1 lap away from finishing off completely. And Pope has a lap to get around Grumio in order to deny him those extra few points that allow Oliver to close in and bring the championship gap down to 9 points. Provided he can keep that fastest lap. 1 more lap to go here at Paul Ricard. And Pope has to do everything now. Grumio using that DRS to get away. That'll be all he needs. He's played this very strategically well. In addition, it looks like both cars will hold on as Lando gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane here. Puncture on that Aston Martin. He's run those hard tyres as long as he can. 24 laps. He's paid the price for it. Landlord now out of the points. Even if he was to get the fastest lap now, there'll be nothing for him to fight for because he's not in the top 10. Medium tyres going on to that car, he's away. Unfortunate end to the race for Landlord there. Yellow flag sector 2, and that is Courtney Goblin's gone around. It's on the outside of the track. Pope has fallen away. He's a second back from Grumio. He's using that ERS to perfection. Only another penalty now for push Grumio down the order. And Oliver, provided there are no mistakes here in this final sector, is going to win this race after a flawless drive. And one that truly has to be commended here. Won at Silverstone, was out last week. The last race he's driven in, he's won. He comes to these last couple of corners here to close the championship gap down. Just 11 points to 12 points rather in the standings. It is going to be Che Oliver who runs towards the line and wins the French Grand Prix here at Paul Ricard, bringing it home for Mercedes to land closer on Aston Martin the Constructors' Championship. Grumio will come home second, minimising the damage from Oliver's victory. He's played the end of that race to perfection. Pope comes home third. It'll be C110P for takes fourth for McLaren and fifth for BJ in the end. So 22 points for those guys. Closing a little bit on Aston Martin, the Constructors. TJ 6th. Ethan will take 6th rather. TJ 7th. Wardy 8th in the end. Alvar will finish the race in 9th. Whether that will change, Prelo will get 9th. Alvar right now holds that last point, and I dare say he might keep it as JB comes home in 11th. PJ Callum home in 12th. That'll be Sniper Hunters P12 now. 13th place for PJ then. And Landlord through the last corner here to end this race at the end in P15 after losing out on that final lap. It's a double podium for Mercedes here. Brilliant race from those two. But credit must go to Grumio as well. Came through pretty much the entire pack there. In terms of position change in the end, 15 places from where he started. But Che Oliver, he couldn't do enough to deny him. And Mercedes driver takes, I believe it's his 4th win of the season. Imola, Miami, Silverstone, and now Paul Ricard as well. Fantastic race for him all round. Really solid result for Mercedes. They'll land to close in the Drivers and Constructors Championships. And let's talk to these two Mercedes pair who've done a brilliant job today. And there he is, there's your winner. Che Oliver takes it here in France. 4th win of the campaign. And Grumio just couldn't quite catch him. No one could catch Che Oliver, who wins once again here. His 5th career victory in the Racers Driving League. And perhaps one of the most dominant victories I've seen in quite a while from a driver that isn't in Aston Martin, especially this season. Well, they'll look to try and continue this form, and Aston Martin McLaren will look to bounce back in Hungary next time out, so make sure to join us for that. And we'll go now to post-race interviews, and we have to ask you to look at the final results. So Che Oliver then wins the race, Grumio 2nd, and Pope rounds off your podium. We'll get to speak to both of the two Mercedes cars. Fan in 4th, BJ 5th, Ethan 6th, TJ 7th, Wardy 8th, Prolol 9th, and Alvar rounds it up top 10. It's JB in 11th, Sniper Hunter 12th, PJ Khaled 13th, Websy 14th, Landlord 15th, that puncture just gets him in the end. Daniel 16th, Huggy Bear 17th, Courtney Goblin 18th, and Zach Sherman, the only DNF of this Grand Prix, home in 19th place. So we'll have a talk now with the two Mercedes cars. In particular, we'll see if we can get to talk to Grimio as well. So we'll be able to speak to Cello now after a dominant performance from him, coming home P1. Be able to get him in the call with us in just a moment here. Oliver, there with us, mate?
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you just fine. Congratulations on the victory there. Number 4 of the season, 5th of your career in the RDL. Quite a boring one for you, if I have to say so myself.
Yeah, it was a little bit boring. Not one of the most interesting races, but nevertheless got the win, so I'm happy.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, had that safety car very early on. The strategy definitely played it into your hands today. Of course, starting on the hards and finishing the race on the mediums. Was there any thought to go later in the race and go on to the softs at the end?
Nah. At the end of the day, it's I maybe would have boxed if it was a safety car, but I wasn't in the race, so it would have been stupid for me to box, really.
Fair enough. Of course, gaining points in the championship as well. That gap down to 12 points now, if my maths are correct. Of course, the Aston Martins started a bit further back today. If they've been any closer, do you reckon that had any impact on the final result?
Not quite sure, to be honest. I let my pace felt quite good. I pulled a big gap today. As Valve got into P2, I pulled away a 5-second gap as well after this pit stop phase. So maybe not. I'm not too sure. It's a hard one to say, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough for me. Of course, a lot of what could have been some moments in racing. In terms of next week's race, we've got the Hungaroring coming up next time out. In terms of can we keep the wins rolling here and try and close on that championship leader, Grimio?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, it's a hat trick of wins for me. Obviously, I wasn't here last race, but if I can get the 4th in a row, that'll be mega.
4th in a row? Sorry, I'm getting myself confused here. I thought you've won.
I didn't race last race, but the 2 before I won.
Did you win Canada?
Won. Yeah.
Wait, did you win Canada? I thought Grimio won that.
Oh, I can't even remember. I have to check. To be honest.
I think the wins you've got this season: Imola, Miami, and Silverstone. This one now. That's win number 4.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't get 3 in a row then. Damn it.
It's still a good tally regardless, though. So I wouldn't be too disappointed with it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I'll let you go then. Congratulations again on the win, and we'll talk to Pope now in just a moment. So we'll be able to get his thoughts on the result from Mercedes as well, because it's a good one as well for you guys in general.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Well, hopefully we'll see you next
week. Come on,
week.
Mercedes. Cheers, mate.
No worries. As that was your race winner then, Che Oliver, 4th win of the season after we counted them up. We'll go to talk to Pope now. Because Pope, a 3rd place finisher in the end, perhaps helped greatly with that penalty. Pope, you there with us, mate? You got us?
Hello.
And there he is, right, podium finisher. Once again, it's been a little while coming. Talk us through it. What went down?
Yeah, finally. I mean, obviously, I knew I didn't have the pace today. I mean, didn't expect to get P2. Obviously, if the Astons were qualifying, they would have been ahead of me, probably behind Che or whatever. But yeah, finishing on the podium, I'll take it. I was expecting P7, so it's nice to be on the podium again.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, the strategy worked out for you guys in Mercedes, starting on the hards and switching on to the mediums towards the end. Would you say that was the deciding factor in the result today?
I mean, yeah, I think we got rid of the horrible stint on the hards to begin with. While everyone was battling, I think it's probably safest bet. And then to go on the mediums at the end, we just had so much more pace than everyone else. So I felt pretty confident from then on.
Fair enough. I mean, of course, you had that battle with Grimio earlier on, or towards the end of the race. Rather, you had to keep him behind for a little bit. Was that the strategy for you and Oliver to try and keep those guys behind so you could build the lead?
Yeah, no. Obviously, he had way more pace than me, but at the same time, I was like, I'll do as much as I can to wear out the tyres, get them to use much ERS as possible, and I think I accomplished that in some sense.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, you kept him behind for a good amount of time and had the battle with him late on after the penalties, which was convenient for Paris. It was a very entertaining race to watch here in the comments box. In terms of next week's race, we've got Hungary next time out. I'll be looking at some more points for Mercedes and trying to close up on the leaders, McLaren and Aston Martin.
I'd like to be fighting for the win. Obviously, I think I got probably one of the best finishes in RDL history here at Hungary. Season 12, I think it was.
Yes, it was. It's a very fantastic finish.
Yeah.
I did enjoy watching
Yeah,
that
that was. Yeah, no, I do watch that back myself. So I would like to hope to compete. I mean, it's one of my favourite tracks of all time. So yeah, let's hope so.
Perhaps looking at Deja Vu in a week's time. So congratulations then. And before we let you go, one last thing. I'm going to hold you to what you said over in the Discord. Can you give us your best riz, please?
My best riz. I mean, that's a good question. I have griddied and then put to one on a night out before. So I think, and I won a fiver from it. So I would say that's probably my best riz, my griddy riz.
Fair enough. And I wonder if JB will perhaps have well be later for saying that. But regardless, we've got it out here. So
yeah,
congrats.
no,
But yeah,
that's me with a race band now.
Congratulations on the podium, though, mate. So perhaps we'll see you back here next week.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries. Have a good one. Well, I could be in trouble for asking that question, but regardless, there you have it. To Pope's best riz after a podium finish here in France. Been a while coming. We haven't heard anything back from Blaze, so I dare say we'll call it the end of the stream there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we're back here next week, same time on the same channel for the Hungarian Grand Prix round number 13. As we're near the halfway, we're past the halfway mark of the season here. A lot can still go down. McLaren, Aston Martin, Mercedes, all battling for the right to be crowned RDL champions this season. It could be any one of them. So make sure to subscribe to the channel in order to keep up with all the RDL action and these shorts I might post later on in the week. So thank you guys once again so much for watching, and I shall see you at the next race. Goodbye, everyone. Good night.